All see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'm a front-end developer. I don't have a business yet, but I do have my ideas and I'm planning to start my business in future. So this is just my idea. My company's name will be WebCo Solutions, and this is a website designer firm. Okay. Give me a minute, please. The mission of WebCo is to provide our clients with user-friendly websites to improve their online presence. With that in mind, we treat every client's website with care. We create websites that are suitable for their needs and to achieve their goal. This will be our mission. Sorry, my screen is acting weird. Okay, so let me just have a quick view of why do you need a website. The websites helps you to generate your business. It helps to increase your sales and also increase your brand value. And websites are the one thing that your clients can visit 24/7 all days throughout the year. And it's quite open and everybody can understand all the details of your company through a website. So you need a website, especially during the pandemic, to promote your business, to promote your services to the clients. And it also increases the credibility. And majority of customers use website to find and engage with business. This is what the statistics show. Okay. And okay. Now, why WebCo? At WebCo, we understand the importance and results of having well-developed websites with great web design and user experience. So at WebCo, we select the right technology. We follow a right action plan where we coordinate with our clients, understand their needs, as well as have constant meetings with them in order to make certain changes to their website. And we give them the websites at affordable cost, and it also be a user-friendly one. As of now, we are concentrating on small and medium-sized businesses, and we always take it as a goal to provide you with a user-friendly and a perfect website experience. Sorry all, like my screen is not working properly, so it's going very fast. I'm finding some difficulty in just going. Okay, so regarding the products and services, okay. Let me just, it's not working. So let me just go with that. So regarding the products and services, like we provide the websites, we use the content management systems, and which helps all the clients to promote their events, and also they can make the editings, they can add the events. It doesn't need too much of coding, and it is very much user friendly. And we also provide the logo designing for our clients. They need not have to have somebody else to do that for them. And we also use the latest technologies to provide you a dynamic website. Then the SEO is also taken care of, like even though we just do it for an extra cost, but the SEO will also be done for a minimal cost. And we also take up the domain and the hosting services will be provided to you. And we make sure that everything you will be getting at a very low cost, as well as without much hassle. And then regarding the resources, as of now, I'm planning to take up a sole proprietorship. And the initial setup, I would be using my basement, and I'm not planning to rent an office for a few months. And I would need to get some training subscriptions, like for the subject matter expertise training. And also I need to invest on some web development tools and packages and the catalogs. And also I will have my website with a portfolio of all my work, so that the clients can go through them and then understand my credibility. And regarding the SWOT, so strength, I would say it is, okay. The strength would be the increasing demand for the websites. And as you know, during the pandemic, like website is a one way that you can promote your business through. So that will be my greatest strength. And I can provide the websites, like it can be a complex one as well as a simple one, a basic website for the small businesses and the different shop, the neighborhood shops. So that is my strength. And regarding my weakness, I would say, since it's a sole proprietorship and I have only one team member or two team members who would be joining me. Um, like competing with the other people on the market who can provide the websites within a small frame of time would be difficult. So that is one of my weakness. And investing on some of the web development tools, which are quite expensive. So that is also, I need to get some sort of initial investment in order to do that. Then regarding the opportunities, now the opportunities for website are too huge because it's an online world now, and everything is digital. So I can get clients from all over the world. It's not restricted to a particular country or a particular area. So this is one of my opportunities. And now the demand for the websites are too huge. This is also one of the opportunities. And to say about the threats, the big firms, the web designing firms who can provide the websites at a minimal cost, and also they can provide the websites within, like, half of the time that I can provide. So this is one of the threats which I'll be facing. But the main advantage is that when you go with some customized firms like us, we can give you a user-friendly experience rather than going with the bigger firms where you have a lot of restrictions, like you have only 2 or 3 revisions. But we can give you, like, sit with you to understand your needs and customize your website as per your needs. We can also introduce few latest technologies and work with you. So this would be my, I could add that as a strength as well. So yes, this is all about the company. Thank you. And sorry, like my screen was not so proper. It had some problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Vidya. Thank you for the quick presentation. In terms of the highlights, I could give maybe, since we have, I think we have about 2 before we go into the presentation. So in terms of the highlights, would you be able to tell us again what you think the strengths of your presentation is, strengths and weaknesses in relation to the market, in, the market where you are operating? Just share that briefly.
Okay, so sorry about that. Like the slide was not clear, so I had to talk about everything. Yeah. Okay. So regarding the strength, I would say, because a website is the one medium by which all the businesses can showcase their products, and you get a complete information on that. Even if you're promoting on a social media, you just can promote few events or something about you. But website is where you get information totally about the company. They can get to look at your portfolio. They get to know about your services, and even the e-commerce services, like they provide you where you can do the transactions through the website. So in this era, like most of the businesses are going online. So website is a huge demand, and that is one of my greatest strengths. And as I deal with small and medium businesses, I'm ready to build a basic to a medium or advanced website according to the needs. So this is another advantage. Like most of the neighborhood shops that I find, like I even assisted them with preparing some a basic website where they can showcase their products, even though it is not a big e-commerce website. So this is one of the major strengths, and more like I can get clients from all over the world. Since it is online, I'm not restricted to a particular area. Since I can do the domain registration, everything can be done from any part of the world. This is my strength. And to talk about the weakness, I would say it's like I need to invest more if I have to get a very good quality design on certain aspect to compete with the larger firms. I have to invest on certain technologies and the initial expenditure. So that is one thing which I can say as my weakness. And also I need to upgrade on few technologies if I have to be an all-rounder in the web designing field. Like I have to jump into right from the logo designing, and also for the domain and hosting, I have to find it, and then I have to create a theme on myself. So there are different aspects where you have to get expertise.
Class.
Yeah. And the other weakness, like threats, I can say it's because there are quite large firms who can provide the websites at a very low cost, because it's a huge organization and then they have different people working on different parts of the website. So that is one of the threats which I need to try and figure out, like how I'm going to overcome that.
All right. Thank you so much. And pardon that.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vidya, for your presentation. Well, looks and sounds quite interesting. I think one or two of the things that I noticed in the course of the presentation, one, the fact that definitely we wanted to get a clear analysis of SWOT, strengths, weaknesses. Maybe for me, from my side, one of the quick highlights would be the fact that there is a lot of competition in this particular market, and one would wonder how you would be able to address the competition that you currently have, the fact that so many people appear to know how to present a website, how to prepare it, how to build one for clients, whether they're in the startup category or not, doesn't appear to be the issue. The fact that even students support appears to be available within that ecosystem, where people can actually just say, oh, I developed it myself, or I got a colleague, a student to help me build it. And also at very, minimal cost, as it were. How do you think you're going to, compete in terms of pricing and all of that? Well, have you thought about that? The market appears saturated. Pricing also in terms of competitive pricing. Do you think there might be a way to navigate that?
Yes, so I am working on that. Like I am doing some freelancing as of now. It's quite difficult, as I said. Like there are firms who can provide at a very much lower cost than what I provide, and they take less time. That is because they have like a great team to work on that, and each part of the work is dedicated to certain members, and then they can club it up. But what I do is I just try to take my clients from a small scale industries where they don't need too much of technologies to be involved, and I give them, in order to compensate for those time, I just give them some friendly approach. I sit with them like almost twice per week to understand the requirements and then work with them, and which you don't get it with the larger firms. Like you can sit with them just for one sitting or two sittings, and then you have to get your job done. So this is one thing which I felt like I can, even though I cannot compete with them totally on what they are providing, but in terms of services, I try to compensate that. I sit with them, understand the requirements, and even if they need changes, I'm ready to do it for them if it comes under my budget, because you can't commit to everything that they ask you for, because it needs some time from my part as well. So this is how, and I went through the market research to understand how much they are charging. And yes, of course, I'm trying to be on par, even though I cannot reduce my cost to that level. Yes, I try to be almost fair to my clients.
Okay. Thank you for providing at least one or two of those clarifications. I'm going to ask, excuse me, my fellow judges in the room, or at least people who are able to provide some feedback. We could also have some feedback from colleagues, so I'm sure we can have, because I think we're only taking about 3 or 4 max. I know we have 2 already. Ade is in the room tonight. Ade Akimbola is one of the senior directors that was at Business Development Bank Canada before now, and then now with the Farm Credit Bank of Canada, a crown corporation of the government of Canada. Ade is in the room tonight. I'm not sure if you have a few comments. I know you came into the room a little late, but I believe you had a few of the comments that I've already made regarding Vidya's presentation. it's in IT, website development, and highlights the fact that capital is required and the fact that the market is also super saturated. But this is a startup that is also trying to break into new waters in a place that is actually very super saturated. So perhaps you might have a few ideas and provide some feedback on how you think Vidya would be able to navigate this market. Over to you, Adi. Can you hear us, Adi?
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Vivian, and I'm really sorry for joining a bit late. I think Vivian is already got a lot of things covered. I think her focus on relationship will really help to mitigate a lot of the competitions she might likely face. People at times, they buy based on relationship. So I think our focus on relationship is one good approach. And then I can only just one thing I can also add is she can leverage on events to foster connections. Maybe try and look into events that can interest the client and use that to foster connections and then keep service on top of mind. Okay, I know there is competition, but people don't really have the same value. They don't deliver the same result. There may be a lot of players, but if you keep service on top of mind, put your client first, like she's always connecting with them, maybe twice every week, she said, or time to time, to really understand what is important to them. So I think follow the clients based on their needs and aspirations and create solutions that address those needs, build relationship, and then try and organize events that help them or that make sense to them based on what they really want to achieve. And I think that all these things can actually differentiate her from the competitions in the market. And I think she's already doing a lot of things right from what I had. I'm sorry I came late. From what I had at the end, I think that my comment would be for her to just hone those things. I think she's on the right track from my point of view, based on what I had at the latter end. I don't know if she has a specific question for me, then maybe I can speak to specifics.
Thank you, Ade Akinpula. Thanks a lot for the feedback.
Thank you for that feedback, Adi. Much appreciated. Cheryl is in the room. Cheryl, do you have any comments at this point?
Yes, I do. I'm just going to get my video to come up. There we go. It is a crowded market. There's no question about that. But there is, if you can carve a niche that you specialize in one particular area, you might have a better chance. You mentioned the large companies, but they have large budgets. There is a space for you for startups, where the startups are on lower budgets, need simpler websites, and really can't afford to go to the bigger companies. So you might be able to drive a business by doing simple work for small startups, allowing them to scale, and then they will grow with you. So as they scale their business and they need more involvement and bring in more connections in terms of PayPal and all of the different parts of the of building a website for commerce, that would be a way of looking at it. You could also look at the newer way of selling, which is m-commerce, which is mobile commerce. Bring yourself up to speed on that. That may be a niche for you because it's new and different, and not everyone's set up and understands it. So there's some areas where you could specialize and create an interest at the lower budget level and grow with your clients. And that may be a way to resolve the issue of the crowded marketplace. You mentioned global. Global is always good. I know that you speak more than one language. That can be a benefit to you, offering a North American perspective to people from your home country. and looking at that because you speak their language, it helps. You might be able to find some niche there as well, especially if they want to do business in North America. You can, that's a guiding hand for them. You can teach that to them because the concept of selling in one country is not the same as selling in another country. So you may be able to build some strengths and weaknesses in that area as well. So there's some areas that but it's going to be specialization. It's not a broad opportunity. It's a narrow your focus. And by narrowing your focus, you can grow.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Cheryl, for the feedback. I think this is very good feedback, and I believe because we do have different groups of people in class, those that are at the startup level, those that are looking to scale their business. Perhaps they started years back. Some have already been impacted by the pandemic. The businesses have been impacted, and they're looking for funding, new levels of funding. Not sure where to go yet. Some thinking perhaps a credit card might just solve the problem right now. So these are various groups of people needing some sort of solution tonight. I wanted to know, Cheryl, also between raising capital, definitely from the market generally, the credit card, the raising capital, the bank loan. In terms of pitching tonight, what would your recommendation be to someone like Vidya?
There's always the challenge of looking at the cost of money. People don't look at how much it costs to borrow money. So it depends on where you're situated and how you're situated. Because sales are a challenge right now, there are solutions in terms of financing of your product that could be less expensive. Always remember, your credit card is your last place to go. It's 19.9%. First thing you can do is go to your bank and ask them to give you the lowest rate on the card, which is around 12 to 12.5% if you're going to carry it on a credit card. But a line of credit can always work. If you need software, their subscriptions may be a more affordable way of doing it rather than paying for, and I recommend it because you always have the newest. So subscriptions to the software could be a better way of managing it. Then you've got a monthly charge rather than an upfront $3,000 or $4,000 to $6,000 charge. So there's some things that you can look at and explore to manage your cash flow better. Watch the cost of money. Always look at the cheapest cost of money. So the cheapest cost of money would be cash. Then the next one is line of credit. And that would be a secured line of credit against some sort of real estate. Then there's the non-supported one, which is it's around 6%. And then some sort of fee-based opportunity where you can get some financing. I know right now that Staples has their own credit card where they're allowing you to make purchases and there's no paying back for a period of time. There's a grace period. So explore all the opportunities that you have to build your software opportunity and see if you can always remember the cost of money. Keep it low.
Always remember the cost of money and find the most cost-effective one. So if there are some highlights to note, Vidya, that will be one, and all members of class tonight as we wrap up the session. And from the banking perspective, are there any other ideas about funding also for all the groups in the room tonight, not just to Vidya? From the banking perspective, as you raise capital, whether for a startup or an established company, how do you go about the funding perspective? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. Looking at it from that perspective, like, are we, for a small scale or a startup business, my preference from what I've seen over the years is for the owner to approach the bank first at the beginning. Because I've seen practically, they go into it and they get stuck and they approach the bank and then they don't get the bank support. And it could be very stressful at that point in time and the business might not survive. So I think at the beginning, if they can figure out how to survive for the first 2 years before they can approach the bank, because but I don't know, but what I see is not the case. Mostly, people start with whatever they have, and then they are 6 months into it, a year into it, there's a big cash flow issue and they rush to the bank. And at that point in time, the bank is asking for 2 years history. They won't have that. The bank is asking for the last 6 months since they've been operating. And then the figure won't look good at that point in time. So if you don't have family and friends or somebody to buy into it in terms of in form of equity or be able to inject cash flow one way or the other outside the banking sector, the traditional way of sourcing financing, is going to create serious challenge. So I think my take, if I have any today, is for the business. If one is going into any business, look at the projection for the next 2 years and see whether it makes sense to approach the bank at the beginning, or can I be able to see it through for the first 2 years? And they should not shy away from diluting their equity, because they always like to hold on to the equity, to the stake 100%, which is what I preach. Because if you bring in somebody at the beginning, you're not going to get a lot from it. They're going to come in and pay little to at least very low, whatever. But if you build it up, then bringing somebody in, you're going to make more money before they come in. But I think if we don't have family and friends, or the bank is not going to come in at that early stage, I think apart from crowdfunding and all the other forms, if you can share it with someone that can buy into that dream and be able to give you the money that you need, maybe give him whatever he's interested in, you negotiate that at the beginning, and then that can take you to for the next 2 years when the business is a little bit strong, there is history of a little bit of cash flow to be able to approach the bank for funding. I think I would suggest to think of that at the beginning rather than getting stuck in between. I think that's just my stake there. And then leverage on family and friends. There are a lot of free money out there. People believe in you, they trust you. I think I would suggest they have a lot of those conversations at the beginning and not quickly jump into it because the idea is good, the idea is great. The idea can die if there's no money to push it. And the bank will frustrate, the kind of response you're going to get from the bank can be very discouraging on a very good idea. I've seen from practically some of the organizations I've worked for in the past, they turn some clients down, and after about 2-3 years, we are the ones chasing them to do business with us. And I could remember all we said when they came in at the initial stage. So a good business, the bank can speak in such a way that the owner might even think of shutting it down. And it's a very good idea just because it's not bankable at that point in time. So, and that could be very discouraging to an entrepreneur, except they are really determined. So that's just my take about that.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for the gems of wisdom there. The fact that entrepreneurs in the room tonight can actually look forward to funding from family and friends. And I know for sure that we have taught this over and over at the EP Academy, the fact that the opportunity to get started with funding from family, friends, and people close to us who believe in our dreams is usually a good way to get started. And then we can then take it on a notch higher. Although I would ask the question again, and I'm not sure if we have people in class tonight who would like to ask questions, because we have all these experts in the room with us tonight. So for instance, some people might ask, family and friends, I think they call it love money, people who know you, friends and so on. But some people actually tell us they really don't have such sources. But I think the general view is that there will be somebody somewhere, somebody, even if it's one, who believes in your project. What if such people are not really willing? What else do we have? Maybe in a minute, we can wrap up this session with such comments from the experts in the room tonight, meaning that maybe family, friends sometimes might be dragging their feet. Maybe family, friends sometimes may just not see the vision that you're seeing. And so they may really be hesitant to contribute. What do you do in such an instance? Is that the time to run to the bank? Is that the time to perhaps, maybe think of other alternatives? All right, Cheryl wants to go before we wrap up this session and go to the next speech. I think we have one or two more.
What we haven't spoken of, and it depends on your business, but there are grants available. There's a master list of grants for both from government and from private enterprise. It's always worthwhile to keep that up to date in your on your list of checks. They're very specific, but they could be invaluable to you, and you need to be aware of them. So keep an eye on grants. They're, as long as you specifically follow exactly what the reason is for them to be giving money away. So if you match that, then a grant would be a good opportunity. It's a matter of teaching yourself, keeping in touch, finding out what the grants are. They come and go on a daily basis, so you need to keep informed. But grants are something that we haven't spoken of that I think we should. The other one we can look at is that first initial amount of money. I call it the gap between the idea and the bank. And that gap can sometimes be filled by angel investors. So if you do run out of friends and family, or you've spent the money they gave you and you still need more, angel investors are also a place that you can look. They're very specific, they're very demanding, and you are going to be reporting to them, but they are a great way to bootstrap your business up to the point where the banks will look at you. So there's always that gap, and that gap exists anywhere in the world. There's always that question, well, how much money have you personally put into it? How much have you been able to acquire to put into it? And there's going to be a sense of, you need to get a certain amount raised before the bank wants to talk to you. Some banks also, that 2 year that Addie was talking about is fairly standard. They want to see 2 years of business. If you don't have that 2 years, you can talk about a guarantor for the loan. Working on one now where we're looking at a guarantor for the loan. So another company that's participating in the effort is going to be looking at becoming the guarantor to the entrepreneur. So there's some other options that are a little more complex, but they can hold a place in your planning process. So angel investors, guarantors for the loan, there's some things that you can look at that may resolve the issue of running out of friends and family.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So, okay.
Sorry.
Annie, yes.
Yeah, just a quick one,
Okay.
because
Sure.
you brought something that's really resonated with me
Okay.
when it comes to, because a few weeks ago, this has actually happened to one of my clients, okay? And they figure out there's a government department, they're trying to develop a specific product for privacy reasons or concerns. I won't mention this product, but they figure out a government department that is really, really interested. One of their mandates is just to ensure that that kind of concept comes to light. And government is forwarded a lot of money to them. They actually gave this business $2 million. So they figured it out. And the business has been around for like 2 years. Okay, it's doing really well, and they want to scale up aggressively. And one way or the other, through their own effort, they located this government department with so much funding for that kind of development of that kind of product. Okay, and then they got $2 million funding with, I think, full funding. I think with zero interest and some. I think they're going to write off about 50% of this loan under certain criteria within a certain period. So that made it very easy for us to be able to support this entity. So just to portray a lot of government funding out there in every area of interest to any entrepreneur, I think the idea is just to do more research.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing some clarity on that, Addie. Yeah, and that was for a for-profit business, if I got that right, not a non-profit. The $2 million grant you mentioned.
Yeah, is this for profit?
For profit or
yeah,
non?
For profit.
For profit. Okay. Yeah. All right. So because in the room tonight we have a large group of a higher group of for-profit organizations, startup groups, and so on. So it's a mix, so that at least they know that this is available. Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the next one, and I think that's the other one we'll take tonight. Are you ready to share your screen? And Jake, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. So,
I'm
can everyone
sorry.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think your mic, maybe there's a background, just a bit. Oh no, just a bit of background. Kindly mute yourselves. I know we forget that sometimes. Everyone does that, right? But once you come in, please mute yourselves. Yeah. I think we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So the product that I will be presenting is Miss A, and what I want to create is sort of in the wake of COVID. I want to do a online fashion business. And although there are many online fashion businesses and, you know, many different experiences with those, um, what I want to create is basically like a fashion website sort of hub where different um, different designers, whether like independent or small business designers, can come together and have like sort of an online mall where they can, you know, present their products, myself included. And so why Miss A? So, you know, a lot of people kind of just spend a lot of money on their clothes every year, whether it's buying new clothes or, you know, revamping their wardrobe. And like I said, I just wanted to have a place where that small businesses and independent stylists could, you know, come together and, you know, have all of their products represented on one page. Yeah, so the target audience will be for the start. Um, I want it to be young adults to teens because I feel like that is sort of an easy place to start. Or like not really the widest like demographic um to start with. And then the mission and the vision is to just have women's wear and just clothing in general for every different style, and also to have like a place for all different types of businesses to congregate, a place for them to just be able to have their own space. Yeah. So I think some of the strengths and weaknesses of this idea, although it's not in the works currently yet, some of the strengths and weaknesses of the idea is that one, because it is a hub of different individual and or small business designers coming together, that there will never be a shortage of products coming in onto the website. And then it would also be a great starting point for different businesses to kind of get their name out there and get to have a feel of their own customer base. Some of the weaknesses though that is that because it's online, it might take a little time to kick off with getting things like getting a domain, you know, being able to connect with the designers and pardon me?
No, please go on. We've muted one of the candidates in the room. We've muted.
Oh,
we've muted.
Okay. Yeah, and then also having other competition with bigger businesses, because as I did say before, the fashion industry as of right now is kind of oversaturated. So those are some of the things that might be weaknesses to the business, is that we're already coming in. I would already be coming into such an established community, but go back. But I do feel like it could work because of the basically because of the creating a community for small businesses, and also creating a community for different styles and aesthetics to come together. I feel because this is a work in progress, I wanted to say that I would have been looking for a storage space, but I think that it would be better to hold off on that as of now. Because instead of getting a whole new storage space and, transferring the clothes from my home to the storage space and then out, I can always just use my basement to get that done. And then also, because it is an online business, most of the independent and/or small business designers can also ship their clothes out from their own locations, which would make it that much more easier and better for the customer and the consumer. Basically, the idea of Miss A is to just have a space for all small businesses and individuals to come together and be able to sell their product without any restrictions, or basically kind of taking the burden of the business side away from their and making it a little bit easier for them. Yeah. Okay. That's it for me.
Do you want to talk through some of the design itself, so we can have the feedback for you? Do you want to show us the picture again, or keep it on the screen while we invite the feedback? Yeah, maybe we want to do that. Thank you.
Okay, so most of the clothes are still a work in progress. As for the ones that you had just seen, they're not really like being sold yet, because
okay, so you don't want people, that's okay. If you don't want people to see the design, that's fine. We can take that over, and thank you for the presentation. We wanted people perhaps for them to provide some comments and so on, some feedback for your presentation. And depending on what you feel comfortable with, it just might help. So over to you, Ade, Cheryl, and any other comments that we might have on online business, selling e-commerce. I think if there are one or two things to quickly learn from your presentation, is the fact that this presentation kind of depicts what's on now, the fact that a lot of small businesses are looking to sell online, the fact that e-commerce appears to be the main thing right now. And if e-commerce is the main thing right now, how are people able to make sales? Now, if that's a projection you're making, the fact also remains that there are several established businesses in the industry making really good sales. They've been there for donkey years. How do you hope to compete with such businesses? I think for us in the room tonight, those will be some of the initial comments for you to take away and to begin to think through, how will I really, I never use the word, how will I survive? Because anybody can actually survive and all of that. But e-commerce, selling online and all of that, that's the business of Amazon, that's the business of Walmart. For a new entrant into the market, how do you really hope to survive? So that would just be something to keep in mind. Definitely you will survive. So how do you want to compete? I think is the right word. So over to you, Cheryl.
A couple of things I'm noticing. You're using SWOT and you're using it against yourself. But in reality, one of the things you should be looking at as well is applying it to your competition. in doing that, you start to define what their strengths and weaknesses are. And there should be 3, 4, or 5 of them. And then you can measure yourself against that and show how you can be different. So for Angie, one of the things that I'm looking at is, and she hit it, but softly, is she's talking about young designers attracting to the younger crowd. There is a place for that because they can't get on Amazon. They can't get on the bigger places. These are small independent designers and they need a forum. So if you drive that part of the concept, you have a better chance of success. It's going to be avant-garde, it's going to be modern, it's going to be of the moment. And so those fashions don't always have a play in the big places. So this is really looking at it like a very specialty shop, that a specialty store. It's a department store in that you have many different designers, but it's also very specific to an age group. It's of the moment. And I think that you can build on that and build success on that, because it's where people go for the fashion. And if you do some research on street fashion and local fashions and from different areas, you can start to build a following. Where your strength is going to be is in blogging, getting the opinions of these new and modern designers and getting their opinions of fashion today and how it works and why they're doing what they're doing. So you can build a powerhouse of information, but also start to find followers that are forward thinking in their fashion. And that may be, so you'll be small and mighty. But please, everyone, look at SWOT, not just against yourself, but against all your competition. It'll help you think through and identify your strengths and where you can differentiate yourself from the competition. So the exercise of SWOT is also for your competition. It helps you think it through and it helps you identify how you can differentiate yourself going into a crowded marketplace. Don't forget m-commerce. That's mobile commerce. Young people particularly are going to go to an m-commerce website before they're going to go to an e-commerce website. So it's important for you to consider the m-commerce, particularly when you're going overseas. Places like Africa and that's where the strength is in the m-commerce. So have a look at it, see if you can find a way to identify yourself with that particular group.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. I appreciate that. Ade, are you ready? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
I think what I just want to leave with her is this. The market you want to cover is just, is constantly evolving, where you have the young people and fashion, it keeps changing. I think if there's a way, all these designers that you are trying to showcase, if there's a way, a support that can be provided in form of innovation that can really provide feedback to those designers and maybe help them also to stay ahead of the game. I think apart from bringing them together under that platform, if there is something that can, like a back support somehow, to just help them to stay very competitive and to be able to cope with the market, that because that market you want to focus on is constantly evolving, so that the products will be very relevant. That's just one thing I just want to leave with you.
All right. Thank you very much, Adi. Thank you for the comments. Thank you. I'm sure Angie has taken note of all of those comments, and we'll be looking into that. Now we do have a few other comments. I'm not sure if this is something that tonight we're not really talking about. We're not going to be discussing materials, how to get fabrics and all of that. You just came into the pitch session where it just so happens that the person making the pitch presentation happens to be discussing fashion design and so on. But definitely for a lot of the other groups that we have in the room tonight, they're small businesses from different industry sectors. So it's not actually about the fashion design industry. It's just a pitch of one of the businesses in the room tonight. We had somebody else discuss creating websites and so on earlier on. I don't know if we have any closing comments from the judges. This is just a pitch session for those coming into the room tonight. This is a wrap up just for information. Again, I've been trying to put that in the chat box so that at least you get to understand what's going on. So we've been at the EP Academy session in the last 7 weeks. And that's about business building and how to start up your business. This is the very last day of the EP Academy session. And so you have some of the class members presenting their business idea, they're pitching it to banks in the room tonight, represented by some of the banks, and one of the banks, and then our faculty members, Cheryl and myself. And so we've come to the end of that pitching session. And so we'll go into the next segment in a couple of minutes, which is actually the launch out of the Black Advisory Hub, which is a Black Advisory Accelerator funded by the government of Canada. So we'll just share a few details about the Accelerator tonight with you all in the room tonight. And so you are all welcome. Just give us a few minutes. We'll wrap up the EP Academy session. And so I go back to you, Ade and Cheryl. Do you have some closing comments? Seeing now that we now have new businesses in the room tonight, some are established businesses, some are startup groups, some are looking to start. So they have some capital or they have some money that they have saved over the years looking to start their businesses. What would your advice be to each one of them in the room tonight before we go into Bar Accelerator, like I mentioned, for funding? If you're a startup, what exactly should be your focus at this point? Raising capital, building partners, or building a brand? Between the three, raising capital, building partners, building a brand that people can refer to. What should people really focus on, and how should they be focused tonight? You want to share with some of the businesses tonight, and then we'll before we go into the Black Advisory Hub session. Thank you.
So one of the issues that we deal with is our ability to articulate specifically and very clearly who we are, why we're here, and what we're doing, and what the benefit is to the people listening. So branding is where you start. You have your bright idea, then you develop it, you develop your brand, you develop your business plan. You want to speak to people with knowledge and with strength of your research to show people that you are a risk they can take in terms of borrowing money. So you don't start with funding. You can, as Daddy says, you can involve the banks from the beginning, but you need to develop your ability to communicate clearly and precisely what it is you want to do. And this is the downfall that we're finding. And that's why we're working so hard to help you develop your pitch. And the pitch comes as an end result to your research and understanding of your business, not just within yourself, but in the broader scope of how it fits in the world that we live in today. A lot of people will talk about their features, and I want them to talk about their benefits. So when you're building your story and explaining to people what you do, you need to tell them why you do it and what is the benefit to me, the listener. Why should I listen to you? Why should I look at what you have to offer? What does it do for me? Because I'm the one who's going to decide whether I want your service or I want your product. So you need to articulate to me what the benefits of an interaction with you are going to give me. And so that's a really hard step to take, but it's absolutely essential that you articulate back to people what they need to hear to make a decision. Once you've accomplished that and you've organized yourself and you've worked on your vision and your mission and your purpose, and you've developed this thinking process, this is a formal structure that organizes your mind. And each step you take helps you to better understand the business that you're in, better helps you to speak to the people who are going to lend you money, And then it eventually it's going to help you brief your creative so that you can have the proper website, you can have the proper actions to engage the public in your opportunity that you're offering out there. And so it's a story that you're telling. It's how it impacts me, the buyer. And these are the key elements that you want to look at. Start finding some specific words that you want to repeat over and over again that people will relate to, that there's an empathy towards, things that you can express quickly and precisely. We call it the elevator speech, getting people to lean in and wanting to hear more. These are all part of the process. But that is at the end of the discussion. The beginning is you articulating and doing the research and understanding who you are, what you offer, who else is in the same market, what are they doing, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how am I different than everybody else, what am I producing that is going to change that decision-making process and have them come to me rather than to someone else. So it's going to be it's a journey. And we're starting the new Accelerator program, which I'm very excited about. And it's a journey to completion and getting you to the point where you can articulate your opportunity in a way that other people can hear it, understand it, and make a decision as to whether they want to become involved or not. You're muted.
See. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cheryl, for those comments. I'll go to Ade quickly so we can get started with the last one. Thank you.
Just to quickly take off from where Sherry left, I think I would say plan, and plan. Okay. The ability to communicate, to me, is a fallout of good planning. Okay. What I see in practice mostly is people put plans together. It's always in all the whole idea is in the mind of would-be entrepreneurs. That's why I value this process and what we're doing. Entrepreneurs always put it together when they want to approach the bank. But I always say, I think from what I've seen, some of the successful businesses I've seen practically, even when they were not going to the bank, all the ideas were in the form of a business plan. Okay, so they've been able to plan the cash flow projection. Everything is on paper. It's like following it step by step, right? So I would just suggest, tell the entrepreneurs in the house today to like to plan and develop a business plan as if they want to approach a bank, even when that plan is just for the business, so that along the line, they can actually know how they're tracking. Everything is going to be captured. Through that business plan, they're going to know their why. They're going to research the market, not just assume that there's a market out there. They're going to research the market. They are going to really create their value proposition, which is what you are talking about. They're going to see the need for a mentor. They're going to see the need of in that plan, they're going to see their products. They're going to list everything. So at the end of the day, that business plan, even when they're not approaching the bank, it's going to really prepare them for the real business itself. That, okay, they've thought about everything from beginning to the end. And then one thing that I always see from businesses that I've seen practically is ideas of the business evolve. So that means those entrepreneurs that I've seen practically, they have the ability to learn. For example, you take a product to the market or you put the whole plan together. For example, COVID is an example. A lot of people that developed a business plan before COVID had to respond to the whole changes. So I think irrespective of how we feel about the idea of what we want to do, the ability to learn quickly, because the challenges will come, unavoidable, okay? The ups and downs will come in business. And that's why somebody like us, we've been supporting businesses for over 20 years. We haven't been bold enough to start I haven't been bold enough to start my business because I've seen up and down with good ideas. I've seen entrepreneurs getting stressed. But those that survive, from what I've seen, are those people that are quickly able to learn and perform under that pressure and deliver results. Those are the ones that are able to cross to the other side. Why? The pressure consumes a lot of people, and those ideas might be good. So what I'm just trying to leave with the whole team today is plan, have the whole plan on paper. It's good on the brain, all on the brain, upstairs, but when you have it down, you will see what is missing and connect with mentors, and then prepare yourself for the hard times. And then there will be up and down, but stay strong and perform under pressure, and it will all be good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ade, for those comments, closing comments. I am sure that a lot of entrepreneurs in the room tonight have learned a lot from that. And with that said, I think this brings us to the end of our EP Academy, the class 25. The EP Academy class 25 ends with that tonight. And that's for 2021. Thank you so much for the graduates of EP Academy, class 25. The fact that you've stayed resilient, at least for those of us in class tonight. This has been 7 weeks of business building workshops being attended to by various lecturers, including RBC Bank, Altana Savings and Loans, and so on. So it's been a wonderful time with you guys. So that's why we go on to the next segment tonight. In about 5-10 minutes, we're just going to quickly unveil to you what we have planned, a part of what we have planned, just a tiny snippet of the plan for next year, year 2022. As some of you know, we've had a lot of sessions in class where we had EP Academy, building business workshops, but the good opportunity came with the government of Canada with the Black Entrepreneurship Program. And the Black Entrepreneurship Program was introduced in September 9th of 2020. However, on the 13th of August, the federal government announced the organizations that were approved to deliver the Black Entrepreneurship Program. And Casa Foundation, that owns the EP Academy, was announced as one of the groups that will be managing the Black Entrepreneurship Program National Ecosystem Fund for the federal government. And as one of those organizations, we decided to go on and start with some of our partner schools, the Black Advisory Hub. And so the Accelerator program of the Black Advisory Hub is that part that we're introducing to you tonight. It's just, which will actually be an offshoot of the EP Academy Incubator that we started more than 3 years ago. So what is the Black Advisory Hub? What is it about? And what do I stand to gain by partnering with the Black Advisory Hub? And that's what we're going to introduce to you tonight in the next couple of minutes. And I'm just going to quickly share my screen. I'm going to share my screen and just quickly share with you what this is. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, I think my screen is clear.
Yes, we can see you.
All right, great.
See the screen.
Okay, great. So this is a Black Advisory Hub. And so you can check that out. And I'm going to type at the same time. Hopefully I can navigate the two together. And so the Black Advisory Hub, the whole idea then is to have a space, a platform for Black entrepreneurs that are just starting out their businesses. Either you're just starting out or you're already an established business, then you need to, the Black Advisory Hub provides you an opportunity. I believe 1 or 2 people, group members in the room tonight can help us. Maybe some of our partners in the room tonight. If you can help me put in the website of the Black Advisory Hub, that would be really helpful. So the idea is to have a hub, to have a platform, to have a space dedicated to Black entrepreneurs that are looking for support. One of the main things that we had, the feedback that we got when the FACE Coalition, for some of us that are familiar with the FACE Coalition, which actually manages the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund. One of the major challenges and gaps highlighted is the fact that a lot of groups have applied for the loan, but they don't qualify. They don't qualify because perhaps some preparation were not put in, or perhaps maybe the type of cash flow, budget prepared and submitted just did not fly, or perhaps because of filing situations where taxes had not been filed for a long time and so on. And so the federal government thought it wise to create the Black Entrepreneurship National Ecosystem Fund, where some funds will be dedicated for training of entrepreneurs, support in building your business plan. Major gap that most of the startups have is that their business plans just don't work well when either the FACE Coalition or the BDC Bank and some of those other groups that are reviewing the applications, they just don't work well. And so one of the things that the Black Advisory Hub will do at this hub, the Accelerator program, which is a 12-week program, would provide some support in building business plans, managing the cash flow, presenting it, because you would have accountants and various professionals in the room with us, helping people through workshops to develop their business plan, helping them and supporting them as they navigate this journey. And so that's exactly the role of the Black Advisory Hub. And this Accelerator program is for 12 weeks. And so we will have 2 sessions in the year, beginning from January, the 27th of January, 2020. So on this website, which is the blackadvisoryhub.ca, the expectation is that you'll be able to register for this Accelerator program. And you're not just registering for the Accelerator program. Perhaps a lot of you want to ask, what's in it for me? Why should I join this? What exactly do I stand to benefit? And so if you look at the program benefits tonight, not only do you get trained by industry professionals like Ade Akimbola, who is in the room tonight with us. These are the groups. BDC also is actually on the FACE Coalition, and they are the people actually managing and reviewing your loan applications. So you can imagine what it feels like to now have a senior executive of members of such banking organizations in the room with you, Crown corporations, actually training you, because they are also groups that will be reviewing your loan applications. And so he represents a group of banks like that. We have Cheryl in the room, who also represents some of the consultants that actually help with building your business plan. You have your idea, you own your idea, but then how do you put this idea on paper in a way that some of the banks will be able to review this? And as some of us might understand, the FACE Coalition is made up of Business Development Bank of Canada, Altana Savings and Loans, Bank City, and a group of, those are the banking groups in the FACE Coalition. They are the ones that get to review 100,000 loan applications and above. But if they keep saying that a lot of the groups that are applying are not eligible, or they cannot just meet the criteria, then what do we need to do? Then we need to go back to the drawing board, have some training, have some support with exactly what they want to see. What do they really want to see in your business planning? What are the things that you need to address carefully? What are the things that you need to be specific about? What are the things that are just peripheral? They don't really need too many details about this. These are some of the things you get to learn in class at the Accelerator program. Then what's in it for me? The pitch. So tonight, for some of us that came early into the session, you would notice that some groups were pitching tonight. The idea of the pitch then is to have people present their value proposition, present your business idea. What do people really need to see when you make such presentations? And how can you translate this into a written document that will be acceptable to not just the FACE Coalition, which is just one of the many funding sources that you have, but generally to the banks? And that's why you have the banks here tonight, reviewing the pitches, giving some feedback, and then ensuring that when it comes to your turn and you have submitting a paper, that paper or the document or your proposal becomes acceptable to the group that is reviewing it. This is what the BAR Accelerator program will be doing. In terms of the pitch, specifically, the BAR funding, the one from the government of Canada, the funding that has been provided to Casa Foundation to engage our entire community, businesses, startup groups, and so on, is not for funding any of the businesses. It's for training, and it's for coaching and giving support for business plans to be written and so on. But in terms of funding, the good thing about this program then is that because some of the banks have seen that they've realized that a lot of groups are applying for the BA Accelerator program, and you get the opportunity to be coached on how to make your pitch. Some of the groups have come together to provide another fund, which is not from the federal government, but another fund that will now help and support some of the businesses also, so that when your pitch is properly done and when the pitch is acceptable to the banks that will be sitting as judges at the pitch, then they can actually provide some initial funding if your pitch makes its way through. And that initial funding will be in the 5s and the 10s. So that will be like 5,000 to 10,000 maximum. But keep in mind that that could be a good start. Between 5 and 10,000 could be a good start for some startup businesses. Not everyone needs 50,000. Not every business needs 25,000. Some actually want to get started from the level of 5,000 or the level of 10,000. And so that's actually what this program is about, because then you get to pitch and some of the banks are able to support you with such a minimum amount to get started. And then at the end of the day, if you now find that you're in the 25, 50, 250 or 500,000 category, then the first coalition, the banks and the Canadian banks come into play to now support you. On this team of the BA Accelerator program, we have the Futurepreneur. And the Futurepreneur Canada is that one that is able to support you up to a maximum of 60,000. So some are also still at the level of 60,000. They will be taking class sessions at the BA Accelerator. And I usually tell people as an investor myself that there's nothing like actually having the people who will approve you on the long run come into the room to teach you. Not only because they now get to meet you, there are no guarantees that you'll be approved, but there's something about somebody who will be looking at your papers eventually to review your application, being the one teaching you. Because by the time they teach you, then they have actually given you maybe a few insights into what is required, what you need to add, T's to cross, I's to dot, and things like that. And this is so important for entrepreneurs because banking and funding is all about relationship. You get to meet with the people that are going to fund you eventually. They're most likely going to eventually fund you, or in the event that they're not able to fund you, they're going to be able to introduce you to like-minded groups or groups of people that might be able to finance your transaction ultimately, even if you're not able to do it. So this is so important for us to note, and I will encourage us, groups in the room tonight, to apply for the BA Accelerator program. You go on the website. I hope somebody already dropped that in the chat room. If you go on the website of blackadvisoryhub.ca, you click on the home page. It takes you straight to the form. You're able to fill the form. I think about 5, 6, 7 questions get asked in this particular regard. Once you answer the critical 7 or 5 questions, you get registered immediately. Classes don't start until the 27th of January. This is just an introduction to the program, so that because once you get into class and we hit the cutoff mark of 50, the first 50, because we don't want the classes to be too full, so we can concentrate on the people in terms of mentoring them, in terms of having people coach them directly so that they can qualify for the loan funds and the other grant funds. Cheryl's particularly focuses on the grants, the list of grants that are available to businesses. But the other group will be focusing on the loans, how to make sure you're prepared to take your loan, what you need to have, the papers you need to have filed, the business plan you need to have written, the cash flow you need to have prepared, and to make sure you're ready. I'm going to pause here, but this is a website and you want to go there and make sure you register so that you can come into class prepared. This is the presentation tonight. And so I'm going to pause at this point to see if we have any questions, comments, so that the experts in the room can provide some answers tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. We'll pause now for questions. All right. Do we have some questions coming up? All right. Are there grants for? Okay, I'll just run through some of the questions myself. Just give me a second. I need to scroll up and see how we get this done. Businesses that have a business plan, currently generating revenue, and want access to grants. All right. Thank you, Nancy, for your question. I'm not sure if that's the first one, but that's the
And
first
then I
one I can
answered
see.
that, Olatoy,
Okay.
and I've answered that.
Okay, you've answered her.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate it is that grants are not dependent on startups. Grants are available on an ongoing basis. They're for anyone who fits the criteria of the grant. So you may have, if you've already got proof of concept, you already have your business plan, you're in a better, and already created revenue, you're in a better place to apply for that grant because you've got the proof of concept. So don't hesitate. If you match the criteria set by the grant, I'm very specific about this. Don't assume that you fit if you don't. Don't waste your time or theirs. Make sure that your business matches why the grant's being given. And then, yes, businesses at 20, 30, 40, 50 years, third generation still apply for grants. So it has nothing to do with the startup. It has to do, do you fit the criteria? Are you moving their purpose forward? And then you can get grants. So yes, please apply, Nancy. Olatoyan?
Okay. How about grants? People who are looking to apply for grants and they haven't even started. You know what I mean? They are looking for grants. They are startups. Either they're in the NPOs. What do you have an advice, a piece of advice for them?
Again, you have to be able to articulate specifically and clearly what your idea is, why it fits the grants criteria, and then you'll have to have proof of concept. So when someone is looking to give money, they want some sort of guarantee that you're going to accomplish the task for you. So if you're a startup and you don't have any history behind you, finding people who can speak on your behalf that can explain that, yes, you're capable of completing this, that you have the capabilities. There's some way of proving that you're a good risk. So it's a matter of risk management and understanding that. So a very good business plan that's written specifically for grants, which is slightly different than asking for money from a bank, because you have to fit the criteria that they've established. The second part of it will be to have your brand story and your brand, anything that is to do with what you're doing has to be very well organized. You need to be able to explain to people why you are different than everyone else, why they should choose you and not someone else. How do you fit the thinking that they have in giving this grant? We went through this when Casa Foundation was applying for the grant. Focusing in on what they were asking for. Why were we the ones that should be chosen? And that's what you have to think about. It's not what you want, it's what they want. And we can help you build that out in the Accelerator program.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you for clarifications. And I think just to build on that, this would actually be, this will be the focus of the discussion also, where we have a session to share more details of the modus operandi, the questions that were asked, and so on. So we're able to share some of this, and this would help. Now, somebody is asking the question if government gave out funding to foundations and not businesses. And I think that question is coming from Nancy. And it's also important to quickly answer that the government indeed has many programs as it chooses to have, depending on which part of, as they choose to focus on development of the Black communities and different other communities too. However, this particular funding is for the Black community. There is a part for the part for foundations and nonprofit organizations. There's also the part for the businesses. What is important for each one of us to do in the room is to find the ones for the businesses and apply for them, and to find the ones for the NPOs, non-profit organizations and apply for them. So what is important is for us to locate them. We're able to provide some links to the ones for businesses, for the ones for the nonprofits, and make sure you choose which one suits your business model and apply for them. I hope that answers your question, Nancy. I'm taking the next question, which says, this is the place, I think something about grants and revenues. Is this just for Ontario or Canada-wide? Also, is this just for businesses or for nonprofits organizations? Yeah, okay, I think I just answered that. It is the grants that they're talking about. Right now, you have grants for businesses, you have grants for nonprofits. And I think Ade Akimbola, the banker in the room, actually clarified that earlier, that some businesses just receive $2 million. And it's a for-profit business. So it's a function of what business you're doing, and it's a function of what you focus on finding. So you need to find the one that fits your business. Some are still at the level of 10,000, and it's a good place to start based on your balance sheet. Some are the level of 50, 250, 500, but he just shared with us this afternoon that the 2 million in class today, that they just did $2 million. So it's important for you to focus and find the one that fits your business model. I don't know, and then for Ontario, Canada-wide, this is Canada-wide. And so you wanna sign up and then make sure you understand what the needs are and understand how you can be helped. But we have shared the website, so it's good for us to check the website again and see exactly what fits and how it fits. I hope I answered that question. Ade, I'm not sure if you want to share again, since we have a few more businesses that are for-profit in the room, maybe they just want to understand just a little bit, a snippet. When they get into class, they will be getting to meet you as the banker in the room. But do you want to share maybe for 1 minute how for-profit businesses get their own grants or loans? Like the one you shared earlier. I think the person asking the question maybe just came into the room. Thank you for sharing. I think we have just about 2 more minutes to go. So maybe by the time you're done that, we'll be ready. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, this specific example, I just like to use that to explain what you want me to do. This company started about 2 years ago. The company is developing an alternative to a common product we all use at home. And that happens to be an area that interests government because of the health benefits of the solution they are creating. So government is now voted some good money for any good business in that area that is trying to solve that, create an alternative product that is going to be more healthy for you and I, because that product is what we take every day and it's derived from animal, okay? But it has its own downside. So these people are trying to take it out of that and still be able to get the same result, make it taste the same way, feel the same way, but not coming from the typical source and animal, okay? So because of the health benefits, government is now voted money to one of the government agencies to support these kind of businesses to scale up because of the huge market. So because it's a small startup, they just want them to be able to produce as many as possible to roll out and expand in a very big way. So to do that, that means you need to make money available. These businesses won't be able to accept funding. So the products tested, solid, solving a problem, and they were able to figure out a government department with that funding, and they applied and they got it. Okay, and the way that program works is, if that money is approved, then if they go to any bank, the entity will match it. For example, if they go to bank to get $5 million, that entity, that government department will match that $5 million. But this business can only, based on their cash flow and projection and what have you, they can't move beyond 2 million. So that was the grant they got. So that grant can go to like 10, 50, 20 million, depending on the business and the stage the business is at. I don't know if I've clarified that a little bit.
I think you did, and I believe the person who asked the question will be able to relate with that. I think the other thing that maybe we will provide, since everyone registered to come into the session tonight, is to actually provide them maybe a few links, like maybe some of the links that you might have. So we'll send that to them by way of next steps email, so that as they register for this program, then they will also have links of samples of opportunities of funding that they are looking forward to, that they can consider, so that even as they come into class, to build up and prepare for all of this, then they would also have that at the back of their mind, that these are opportunities that they need to latch onto. So I think we would need to prepare like a list of opportunities, funding available, so that people can actually focus their minds on such opportunities as they begin to prepare. Thank you very much, Ade, for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I think we've had this session. So this session is being recorded, and I think we will make this available, we'll make it available to you also on the registration platform where you registered from. We'll make that available to you. I don't think we have any more questions tonight. And since the session stops at 6:30, I think we would like to call it a day if we don't have any more questions. We do have some experts in the room tonight, so maybe one more question if anybody has that, then we can take it. Otherwise, it will be time to close. It will be time to close. All right. I think we're all done. Okay, Phoenix and Jules. Okay, yeah, Jules, can you ask your question?
Yeah, the question that I had was, is it BAH only available for native English speaker?
I'm sorry, is it only
Yeah, my
available?
question is, BAH is only available for English native speakers, or also for French speakers? Because I'm coming from the Quebec, that's why I'm asking this question.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you very much, Jules, for the question. It is available to Francophone, the Francophone community too. French-speaking participants are welcome. Actually, on the website, if you want to register, you would notice that you can actually, you have the French-speaking version on the website, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. So you can register seamlessly on the website, because it's also available to the Francophone community. It's available to Black groups, everyone that identifies or self-identify as a Black person, a Black business, Black community groups. It's also available to all the groups that are supporting Black businesses. So if you are supporting Black businesses by way of training, by way of investment, providing educational materials, or support funding, this program is also available to you. So please make sure to share the opportunity with all your friends and all your associates. Thank you very much. One last question, and then we'll close tonight from Phoenix. Do you still have a question? Phoenix.
I want to ask a question.
Okay, let's take Phoenix. I'm not sure, except Phoenix doesn't have the question anymore.
Sorry,
Okay.
yes. Sorry about that. It's actually Nikisha.
Okay.
Nikisha. Oh, sorry. I forgot that I still had Phoenix up on there.
Yeah, that's what you have on your, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's part of my brand name. That's why. So yes, you've answered all the questions. Thank you so much. It's just, I guess, having understanding about what's needed if you want to apply for grants versus loans, and where you can go to the website to get information for that, with regards to the Accelerator program. That's correct? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, kind of straining my ears, but I'm trying to.
Oh, sorry. I'll try to see if I can talk louder. No, I was saying you've answered my question. Thank you so much. It was just you were helping me to understand that with regards to the program, I can go to the link and know where to look if I want to apply for a grant versus a loan.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
no. What the link that the link we put in the chat box will only take you into the Black Advisory Hub Accelerator program, the 12-week program that is opening now. The application is open, so you can register for that program. It won't tell you directly where you will get loans and funding. I dropped another link in the chat box earlier on. which will take you to a list of grants and loans available to Black community groups and general groups. I will put that in now. I will put that in again. I think it must be on the upper part of this chat box. If anybody can find it for me, you can also pick it and repost for the people that are joining us, just joining us now. But this particular one will give you access to the sessions, the roundtables, and to the pitch program, because we would have a pitch program, the one that pays 5,000 to 10,000 for the people that register for that. 5,000 to 10,000 only is what the banks are able to do this time. And that's because it's for startup groups and people who just need to get started before they now will become well established to go to the 50 or the 250 or 1 million level. All right, so that's the one we're doing. And we're hoping that maybe about 25 businesses will get funded from that. But it's a function of who registers. It's a function of how quickly they register before we close it, because we're only opening this to the first cohort of 50. So that's the link that helps you register for this one. I hope I've answered your question. Now, we're supposed to close now. I don't have your name, but I see the name here says iPhone. Are you able to put your question in the chat box? Maybe we can answer through the chat box, because we really need to go now. This session is supposed to end at 6:30 sharp.
I can send email too with my question.
Pardon?
I can send an email with my question too.
Absolutely, we would love that. And the email to send the question to is Bar Media, that's Black Advisory Hub. So it's barmedia@casafoundation.ca. I put that also for people who still have questions, who need to get in touch with the office. The barmedia@casafoundation.ca email is where you need to send your questions to.
Can you put it in the chat, please?
Pardon?
Can you put it in the chat, please?
I put it in the chat box already. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So anyone who has further questions, please send all your questions to barmedia@casafoundation.ca. Make sure you register for the class Bar Accelerator. It starts in another 4 weeks. That's the only way you can have access to the pitch grants that will be provided, because you need to pitch for it and you need to win it, but you can't pitch if you haven't registered. So we look forward to seeing you all in class. We look forward to welcoming you into the new year, and we trust that we will all be protected from the current virus, the variant that is on right now. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to having you again at the next session. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.